So this is the most important lesson you will ever learn about money. I'm lucky enough to have picked this at a tender age of 10, and it's only because I was raised in a family. My mother was a serial entrepreneur. I've never mentioned this before, but she was so good at her art. And by the time I was like 10, 11 years of age, I was already an accountant for her business, because she'd come at the end of the day or at the end of the trip she used to make with bags of cash. These were like millions of Kenyan shillings, yeah? And I was responsible for counting this money, and the next day I was responsible for actually going and depositing it in the bank. But here's now where the lesson comes in. So one time I'm coming from these bank errands back home, and I find my mother seated with one of her business partners at the dining table. I think they're having a meal. So I give her the receipt from the bank, and she tells her friend, "Oh, now I can wire you the amount. I'm sure it will reflect. She just deposited the money." And the friend, immediately I just saw the friend's face, and I realized this is something that she never saw coming. It was so shocking to her that my mother could trust me with that amount of money, and she went straight into asking her, "What? You send Rose," they call me Rose at home, "you send Rose to deposit that amount of money? How?" Like, she was so shocked, and my mother sort of reeled her in by explaining how her thought process works. So first of all, I'd never understood personally why my mother insisted on me doing this. And now that I've grown into running my own enterprise, now that I've grown into building my own corporation, I now understand why she was doing that. Because to date, people tell me my mindset around money is very different, and I think it's because she taught me those lessons from the word go. Now here's her thinking. This is my mother's thinking. First of all, human beings put money on a pedestal. We look at money like this thing that is above us, except your worth as a person dictates the money you make. So her thinking through that process was, someone may think this is a lot of money, but from where I sit, I'm entrusting it with something that I love even more. So this is me building a relationship with money. This is me introducing money to the people that I love. This is me being intimate with money. And I remember her breaking it down to a friend very simply. If I walked around with that money, someone would probably jump me, but nobody will suspect a 12-year-old was passing around here with millions of cash. So as a matter of fact, the only place that people recognize she has that money is when she arrives at the counter. But that was the tip of the iceberg. In the money lessons I learned through this process was the habit of getting intimate with money. You don't put money on a pedestal. And this is something that has really changed my outlook around life, because I'm someone who is not easily impressed with money, sorry to say, and I think it's because I touched quite an amount from a young age, but also it comes from understanding that intimacy with money makes money want you more. So you gotta be the kind of person who is, first of all, not scared about money or the outcomes of money. When you do that, you're telling money, we are at par. You know, it's not like I'm looking at you as this thing that is incapable. And when you have that mindset, it means even if you lose, it's not as scary. And even if you win, you know it's not what dictates your worth. So when you're someone who is always neutral to finances, if you're someone who doesn't put finances on a pedestal, but at the same time you give the right respect it deserves, because money needs you to be intimate with it. But like every other relationship, how do you become intimate with your partner? You give your partner time, you give your partner attention, you give your partner respect, and you give your partner trust. So you gotta be comfortable enough with money. In essence, that you trust your flow of money. You can relax in your being, because you know that money always finds its way to you. You're not someone who is threatened by even spending. You're not someone who is threatened by even not having control around money, because at the end of the day, you know you've built a relationship with money. So money will always find its way back to you. These are the small lessons that I picked over the years, and it's something that has changed my life completely. That is why as early as my 20s, I've built what I've built. I have the kind of team I have the kind of company I have, but I think it stems from this mentality around money. Now, what I find interesting is that life lesson that you need to be intimate when it comes to money. Guys, can you delve more into this in the upcoming masterclass? It's on 31st. The details will be somewhere in the stream. Please come join us. I want to go more into details without feeling like I'm rushing, don't feel like I'm intruding the privacy of the cow behind me. So maybe we go more into details about this. But just remember to be intimate with money. Form a relationship with it, a secure relationship. So you're not insecure with it. And this dictates that you respect money. Second, it dictates that you create a vacuum for money. So money won't come where there's no vacuum. There has to be something that you create a vacuum for. So if you have to think differently when it comes to money. I've even created avenues whereby you can hold more money. If today I was to give you 10 million USD, where would that money go to? I've even thought of that prior. Because I promise you can't earn that money unless you create the vacuum and the intention for it, unless you be intimate with it, unless you create a home, a relationship for it. Cheers, guys. See you at the masterclass on the 31st of this month. I can't wait to meet you and share all these nuggets. Bye.